If you happen to be anything like me when you were 9, Linkin Park was everywhere. Their chemistry, Mike's production, Chester's raw emotion made them a top 3 band for just about everyone I knew. Watching In the End on a flip phone as a kid was iconic. Chester's passing hit hard, and with the recent resurgence of the band, I've been reflecting on their legacy. Emily Armstrong stepping in for Chester, it's pretty unexpected for sure, but honestly, it's starting to grow on me now. Is this the new era of Linkin Park?
That you cut me open just to watch me bleed.
In this video, I'm going to be breaking down some tips and tricks to produce a track inspired by old school Linkin Park with a bit of a modern twist. I'm going to be using Emily's acapella on the end result just for research purposes. Fingers crossed that I don't get copyright struck for this. And also to celebrate hitting the 1500 subscriber mark, I've got some freebies for you at the end, so stick around for that. Yo, what's good? If you're new here, welcome. Welcome to Flavor Sessions. My name's Anglo, and this is a show where we mix music, synths, and get inspired by legends. So grab your meals, beverages, or whatever it is that you're into, because today we're composing a track in the style of Linkin Park in FL Studio. Plus, we're also going to be testing out how Emily's vocal fits on the track that we end up cooking up. So grab your notebooks, because today we're about to get nerdy. Chester Bennington has to be one of my most favorite artists. When they announced that Linkin Park was coming back, I could only imagine the pressure Emily Armstrong must have felt trying to step into these big shoes. There's definitely been some criticism, sure, but seeing Mike and the band together being happy making music together, it definitely feels like something Chester would have wanted. Emily's journey is pretty cool. She's the powerhouse behind Death Sarah, known for her insane vocal grit and her raw performances. From playing grungy LA gigs to now co-leading one of the biggest bands in the world, she's definitely bringing her own energy to Linkin Park. Alright, with that said, let's get into breaking this track down. I started by prepping the project. I added playlist names for every layer to keep things organized. I'm giving away this FLP file free in my sample pack. It's clean, it's got no VSTs or effects. It's just ready for you to start dropping in your own sounds based on the naming convention. First, the drums. I recently copped some new drum kits because what I was using was more jazz oriented. I finally picked up the GGD's metal kit. A simple rock groove is what I thought would get me started, and I tweaked it around for some punch and crispiness, a nice kick and a snappy snare. Next up for the guitars, I pulled up Guitar Rig to find that nostalgic early 2000s guitar tone. My first few guitar improv lines didn't quite give me that Linkin Park aesthetic, so don't get discouraged if your first few takes aren't it. I scrapped my first few initial riff ideas and restarted the entire process. To ground yourself, maybe consider starting with some piano chords. That's exactly what I did by using Analog Labs. Again, I'm not sponsored, but this is what I ended up using. On those piano chords, I added some light EQ and some processing. Linkin Park, it definitely sounds a lot fuller than just the piano chords itself. My best guess is that they use pads, so that's exactly what I did. Using the pads, I layered it on top of the chords to give it a more fuller sound. While I was writing, I couldn't help but hum Breaking the Habit lyrics over the piano. I'm really glad my mic wasn't on. Now, using the same chord progression, I added some stabby piano patterns to give the track more pace and energy. For the chorus or the drop section, I wrote the drum part in MIDI using my mouse, using the GGD metal kit. Pro tip for mixing, route each individual drum layer to its own mixer slot for better control when you mix. Next, I used some slight compression to brighten up that drum mix, giving the kick that punch and a snare that crisp snap. I then synthesized and laid down a sub bass using the 3x oscillator. A really simple sine wave with a touch of distortion really did the trick. After that, I started experimenting with some more riff ideas guided by these piano chords. Once I found something that worked, I tracked the rhythm guitars on the left and the right channels. And next, I added lead guitars on top to complement that progression. Don't be afraid to experiment when you try writing your guitar chords, which is why a piano progression can probably guide your improvisation better. After getting the drums, the sine wave, and the guitars tight, I tracked my bass guitar using guitar rig again to find a tone. I kept it pretty simple, played the root notes. Mixing was essential to trying to nail this style of Linkin Park. Here are a few tips that I thought I'd put out in this video while I did this mix. For your crash sound from the drum kit, EQ out all the lows and add a bit of distortion to make that sound cut through. Just make sure you don't drown it in distortion. On the kick, after the compression, I added subtle reverb and then I used EQ to cut out all those unwanted frequencies to help make the kick sound really massive without really mudding up the mix. For snares, I recommend compressing and boosting the mid-range frequencies to bring them forward in the mix. Again, it goes without saying, but layer your guitars. Use EQ to carve out the spaces for them to sit well with all the other elements. And I know it takes a bit of time, but once everything really gels in, it's really going to be all worth it. Some other processing tips is to use EQ where required. Using stereo separation can also make everything sit well in the mix. When trying to compose a track in the style of Linkin Park, gain staging and clean tracking and layering of your guitars is going to be essential for this style to get a well-balanced track. And for the final preview, I found Emily's acapella online and just dragged them in. Obviously, I've pitched it down to try and not get striked, but fingers crossed.
That you cut me open just to watch me bleed. Don't know what I'm hoping for, what I've always said. The emptiness machine.
There you have it. Thank you so much for sticking around till the end. It absolutely means a lot. To show you my appreciation, I'm giving away all the project sounds from this track as a free sample pack. Feel free to do whatever you want. Make something sick with it. Alright, drop a comment on which artist you'd like me to break down next, or one of your favorite Linkin Park tracks. And as always, random citizen, stay safe and stay creative. This was Anglo. Peace out.